Hi guys, we're in the nail room today and I wanted to talk to you about looking after your nails and what to do if you can't get to the salon to get a manicure during lockdown. So this is more a problem for folks who may have gel or shellac polish on their nails. Not so much with normal polish because, as you know, with normal polish you just get yourself a bottle of acetone or nail polish remover and a cotton pad and you can pretty much clean up what you have. But if you had a gel manicure prior to going into lockdown, and maybe it was you were 3 or 4 weeks out from having that manicure when we went into lockdown, your nails are starting to grow and you're probably starting to think, oh, this doesn't look so great. So what do I do about it? Well, the first thing is, if you want to get the polish off altogether, there's a few ways you can do it. Pretty easy, really, and doesn't really require tremendous supplies or anything really particularly hard to get. So what you're going to need is you're going to need some of these like cosmetic cotton pads. You're going to need some pure acetone for this. I would not recommend using just nail polish remover or acetone-free nail polish remover. It's not going to work the same. You're going to need a file. Now this is like a double-sided. It's kind of a little bit spongy. It's got a heavier grit on one side and a lighter grit on the other. One of those. And you'll also need some either some tin foil that you have cut into squares. 10 squares, about 2 inches square, I would say would be fine. Or if you do happen to do your nails at home a lot, you may already have some of these. You can get these on Amazon too. They're just a bag of nail clips and they come in really handy for this specific purpose, or if you happen to be wearing nail polish that has glitter in it, because if you've ever tried to take off glitter nail polish, it is kind of a nightmare. It's kind of hell on wheels. So what do? Well, let me see here. I'm going to grab a swatch stick because I just painted my nails last night and I don't particularly want to damage them. We'll use this one here. This is pretty generic. So pretending that this is my nail and that this is gel polish, one of the things that gel polish is really appealing for is the fact that it has such a high shine to it. So what you want to do in order for this technique to work is you want to buff just the shine off of that nail. You're not trying to go right back down to the natural nail and buff the polish off. We're going to use the acetone. We're going to let the acetone do the heavy lifting for us. So take your file and just buff the shine off. Doesn't take a whole lot. Make sure you get everywhere. And again, I really can't emphasize enough, please do not try and buff the polish completely off. You can end up going down to your natural nail and hurting yourself and damaging your nail plate if you do that. At that point, what you're going to do is you're going to take your little cotton pads, and I like to cut them into quarters. I just find using a whole one is too unruly. And you're going to take your 100% pure acetone, which you can get at pharmacies, you can get this at Walmart. I think even the dollar stores now carry this stuff. So if you're out and about, you can get yourself some acetone. Order some off Amazon if you don't have it. Put some acetone on your pad, and then you're going to lay that cotton pad right on top of that nail. And now, if you're doing this on your finger, okay, if I pretend I've got my fingernail buffed here of the shine and I've got my acetone pad, this is where these little clips are a great thing because you just pop the little clip on and you're good to go. Tin foil does exactly the same thing. It's just a little harder to finagle. So if you have someone at home that can help you by wrapping your finger nice and tight with that on there, that's great. Then all you do really after that is you wait. It's going to take, I would say, 5 to 7 minutes probably for that acetone to penetrate, and the heat of your finger and the cotton pad, the pressure of it against your nail is really going to let that acetone get down and penetrate that gel polish. Now check it in 5 minutes, pop it off, take your cotton pad and try and remove what you can. If you see that there are still areas where it hasn't penetrated, take your file, give it another little buff, put the pad back on. You may have to add some more acetone, put your clip or your tinfoil pack back on, and just sit and wait. If you have someone to help you, you can do, both your hands at the same time. If you're doing it on your own, do one hand, wait, do something, watch TV, and then do the other. So that is how you get your gel polish off. So as your manicure grows out, you're going to notice that as it grows out from the cuticle, you're going to have a little ridge where if they've put an overlay, like an acrylic overlay or a gel overlay or something, you might notice a little bit of a ridge there, and that's okay. You can just let that continue to grow. It's not attractive. You can try very carefully with a softer grit, like a buffing block I would use, and only on the the enhancement, not on your natural nail, and just try and reduce the appearance of that hump. And then if you just keep it covered with polish as it grows out, that should tide you until you can get to a salon to have it done professionally. The one thing you do want to watch for if you do have an enhancement on your nail and it starts growing out is you want to watch for lifting. So if you look at your nail when they're naked and you have all your polish off and you notice that there's like a little bit of white at the base, chances are if you press on your nail, you're going to see that that's actually an area that's starting to lift, and that's dangerous. You don't want that to get any kind of bacteria in there that could start to grow, because you could end up with a condition called the greenies, which is very unpleasant, and it literally turns your fingernail green. It will grow out. You will be able to eventually get rid of it, but you do need to keep that lifted area off. So, you might even be able to, I don't know if your salons, if you have some lifting and buffing with a block is not getting rid of it at the bottom, don't resist the urge to take something sharp and get in there and pry that enhancement off. That's going to damage the surface of your nail when you do that. You really don't want to do that. You can do a similar thing to removing the gel polish if you're really concerned that you've got a lot of lifting, but it's not coming off easily when you buff it. You can try again with your buffer to buff the surface of that enhancement, whether it's acrylic or a hard gel surface, and you can try the acetone again, and you can try sort of gently soaking the whole thing off, and just sort of keep at it. It will come off eventually, I promise you. If you have access to your salon by phone, maybe they're not working there, but maybe someone is taking calls, you could also call your nail tech and ask what they might recommend. But that, if I was facing it, that is what I would do. Or if I had any lifting, you definitely don't want that. Even if it's a tiny microscopic little, you want to make sure you get that off so you don't get any bacteria in underneath there. So tips for just a general manicure at home, something that'll last you. I find it really relaxing to paint my nails. And it's nice to be able to change the color, which you can do when you're just using like a normal nail polish more frequently. So start with clean nails, wash your hands first, okay? Take your polish off, and then I would suggest using alcohol or straight acetone to really clean those nails, even after your polish seems to be completely off. You don't want to start putting your base coat and your other polishes on. You don't want to go and wash your hands after that to wash any stuff away, because sometimes the soaps that we use have oils in them, and that can just make your nail polish not last as long. So wash your hands first, do your prep work, push your cuticles back with an orange wood stick. Don't cut them. If you've got some dead skin that's hanging, you can use a cuticle nipper to nip that off, but be very careful that you don't get into the live skin, or it will bleed and it will throb and it will hurt. And again, it's just a breeding ground for bacteria, which especially right now we're all pretty conscious of. So when you start to do your manicure, start with that, wipe them with pure acetone or pure rubbing alcohol. I use rubbing alcohol all the time. It's a bit of a dehydrator, but it makes sure that there's no oils on your nails before you start. Always start with a base coat, whether it's like a peel-off base coat or just something that you would get at a dollar store or a pharmacy, just something to protect your natural nail. Some of the colors that are out today, the blues, the blacks, and some reds, can really stain your nail, especially if you leave them on for a long time. Always best to start with a base coat so that you don't have that discoloration when you go to take your nail polish off the next time. File. I do generally prefer glass files. I just couldn't lay my hand on my glass file right now. I think it's upstairs in my purse, but I really do like glass files as opposed to emery boards. But if you've got emery boards, that's okay. Just when you're filing, choose your shape for your nail, whether it's square or coffin, stiletto, whatever you like. And I like to file only one direction when I'm doing my nails. What we can't see when we go back and forth sawing on our poor fingernails is that there's tiny little microscopic tears that causes, and eventually that could take the whole end of your fingernail off if that crack and that little split gets bigger and rougher, and that's frustrating. You don't want to rip your nail off. It hurts too. It can really throb and be very, very uncomfortable. Painting your nails. It's better to go in thin coats and maybe even have to do 3 coats of color to get the opacity that you might want, rather than glop it on in one thick coat and then wonder why you get a ding in your nail 25-30 minutes later when you think, gosh, my nails should be dry. Nail polish doesn't, even fast drying ones really don't dry all that particularly fast. So start with your thin coat of your color and give it a good 20 minutes to dry before you put anything else on there. You may take 2 coats, it may take 3, and then I would always recommend starting or finishing off rather with a top coat. I like a quick drying top coat. This one is Rush 60-second high-speed top coat. This really does dry quite quickly, as long as what's underneath of it is already dry. So this is a nice one that you can get from Sally Beauty. I don't know if it's available on Amazon or anything like that. Yeah, and don't forget your cuticles. Right now, especially with all the hand sanitizer and extra hand washing that we're doing, you definitely want to make sure you look after your cuticles. And if you don't have cuticle oil, just some hand lotion or, gosh, olive oil, coconut oil, anything like that will work. Rub it into your cuticles. If you don't think to do it during the day, try doing it before you go to bed at night so that that really has a chance to soak in. If your cuticles are healthy and your nails are healthy, they're not going to be resistant to breaks and damage, which is what you ultimately want, especially if you like to have a manicure and you like to have your hands looking nice. So that's sort of some basics for giving yourself a manicure at home, and for maybe dealing with those few weeks now until you can get back into your salon to have your enhancements filled, or to have another gel polish application. So hopefully that's helped you. If you guys like this, let me know. Maybe we can do a quick video on some easy, simple nail art that you guys can do at home if you want to spiff up your nails for those dull winter days. So anyways, thanks for joining me in the nail room, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.